I'm gonna open it.
When I said I admired you, I meant what I said.
Put the gun down.
I saw you with the box. What was in the box?
Because I envy your normal life.
Put the gun down, baby.
It seems that envy is my sin.
Oh, what's in the box?
Not till you give me the
What's
gun.
in the box?
It'll look intimidating at first, but it's just a couple different versions of pretty much the same stuff. So first off, let's look at these things called a round bottom flask or boiling flasks. You usually have a few different sizes in a kit. Right? If you look here, this size right here is a 25 milliliter round bottom flask or boiling flask. Here we have a 100 milliliter and then a 250 milliliter. As you're doing a distillation, whatever liquids you're distilling from one another will be boiling in this flask here. So it's general practice to not fill it more than about halfway, right? Maybe 2/3, but between 1/3 and 2/3 is appropriate. You don't want to let it run dry and boil dry, but you also don't want boiling so much that it's going to be spilling liquid into your distillation apparatus, because that just defeats the entire purpose of what we're doing. After we get past our flasks, we have two different types of condensers. Now, you'll see that you have a very unique, a very appropriate name for these. We have the skinny condenser, or the Mr. Mac condenser, fat condenser, right? Skinny condenser, fat condenser, right? Most of the time, when you're only using one condenser, you're going to choose the fat condenser, right? If you're only using one, you choose the fat condenser. But sometimes, as you're going to see in our fractional distillation, you'll need to use both, right? So let's talk about what a condenser is. I actually have a broken one right here. If you look here from this broken condenser, you can see that there's actually a glass tube that runs down the middle with another glass sleeve on the outside, right? So what happens is there are these inlet and outlet valves that you will hook up water to, cold water, and it fills this outer jacket or sleeve. And then as your hot vapor, or whatever sort of gas you're distilling, comes down the middle, it doesn't actually mix with any of that cold water, but there's heat exchange between the cool water or cold water on the outside jacket and the vapor inside, which then, hence the name, causes the vapor to condense inside the inner tube and then come out the other end. Now, when you're doing this, you always want to make sure that the fresh water, which is the coldest coming in, is coming in through this lower part of the jacket, because you want the coldest water right here to make sure that you never have any vapor coming across, that you condense it all down. And it will climb up, so you have water go in, it'll fill the jacket, and then come back out through this side. And we're going to attach it with hoses, which we'll see when I set up the apparatus. We also have two pieces that look similar, but serve very different functions. Here we have a T-piece, which I'll show you in the setup. This will allow you to connect your boiling flask to your condenser, right? So as we're boiling this flask here, as this is boiling, the vapors will go up into the T-piece or three-way adapter. It's also called a three-way adapter. And the vapors, if this piece is properly stoppered, right, will not travel up, but get forced into the condenser, where they condense. And then often we will have a nose piece on this end, so that as the vapor condenses, it goes into the nose piece, and then we collect it in some device, usually a graduated cylinder, but some other times other glassware as well. Okay, so what we have here, these two pieces, they look similar, but we have the T-piece or the three-way adapter and the nose piece. Now, if you look here, I have two different types of stoppers that can go into my three-way adapter. I have just a ground glass adapter, which does not have any hole in it. Right? And this is the one that we're actually not going to use most, right? We'll use this for other purposes, but we wouldn't really use this for most of our distillations, because as the distillation's occurring, we need to make sure that we understand what temperature the vapor is in our apparatus. So that's why we use this temperature adapter. If you look here, it has a hole, a thermometer adapter. If you look here, it has a hole down the middle that you'd put a thermometer through, so that when you set it up, right, when you set it up, the thermometer will come down into the device, into your distillation setup, and you can monitor the temperature as your distillation goes forward. In addition to that, there's usually going to be what's called a separation funnel, right? And a separation funnel is nice because you can mix two liquids. Usually they have to be immiscible, meaning they do not mix. So we can put two liquids into this, and we can separate them usually based off of gravity, because the more dense liquid will go to the bottom of the sep funnel, the less dense liquid will be at the top. And what we can do is we can simply open the funnel and draw off the bottom, right? If we open the funnel, we draw off the bottom and collect that more dense liquid, leaving the less dense liquid left in the set funnel. So these are all the different glassware pieces. We're going to explain how to use them in another video more thoroughly, but we have our round bottom or boiling flask, we have our skinny and fat condenser, we have a T-piece or three-way adapter which connects the boiling flask to the condenser, we have a nose piece, we have our separation funnel, and we have either a stopper, a glass stopper, or a thermometer adapter.